Welcome back to the Reality Guys. I'm your host, Brian, and today I'm talking alone. This is season 11, episode 3, entitled Fortune. All right, so we are back to going to probably go on these episodes where I'm going to go run through each person individually instead of like a timeline. Just I think it's easier for you guys and for me, honestly, to remember things. And we aren't going to see everybody every single episode now. That we the first two episodes we were introduced to 5 people and the next 5 people, but today we actually saw 6 people. One of them super brief. Um, I'm going to save the person that got eliminated to the end just for, I guess, suspense reasons. But I thought it was a pretty good episode. It was a lot, and I think Fortune is a good title because there was a lot of fish caught, a lot of pike. And it's funny that the person that caught the most fish, I think they even like threw the number up on the side in the little like white font over here. It was 20 pounds, so that's a lot of fish. But it's not all about getting food and having a good shelter. It's also the mental game, and the mental game took this person out. So I'll get to that in the end, but I'm gonna run down the list of order of how we saw people, but minus the person that gets eliminated. I'll do them last. All right, so it's Isaiah. So first of all, right off the bat, Isaiah is talking about how he peed in a gas can that he found. So apparently it was very windy the night before. Didn't have to get out of shelter. Found a gas can on the first day and was peed in it. And remember, if you're new to the show, anything you find out in the wilderness, you are allowed to use. So you have your 10 items, but if you find things like cans are going to be helpful, things like that, or hooks or metal, you can use those things for anything. So that's all fair game. So using it to pee, I don't know, maybe he'll clean it out, use it for something later, maybe storage, but first use was pee. So he's working on a super shelter. That's what he calls it. He says he was trying to get it by 10 by 10, which I think it's kind of crazy. That's a lot. And I mean, I've seen every season. Everybody does different shelters. Everyone has a different philosophy on what you should do. He was burning, the bottom said 3,500 calories just building this shelter. And I think like he needs like 2,000. He needs to eat 2,000 to sustain his body weight. So he's already burning that's just doing the shelter. So that doesn't include the other thing. So yeah, we'll have to see how this goes, because anytime you see somebody working really hard, that's worrisome. And I don't really remember. We do see him eventually get a squirrel, and he does get a fish, but yeah, that I don't know. I always worry about seeing people um, spending a lot of time on a big shelter, and he's like lugging logs around, like putting his post up. I mean, it's probably gonna look really nice when it's done, but is it necessary? And I know like some of the commenters probably gonna say it's not, but yeah, this is one of those ones where I just want to see how it goes. I don't really have faith that he's probably going to win, but I wanted to see how the shelter turns out, because I do like to see what it's for me, somebody who's like an inside dude, and if I ever went out here, I would be terrible. I do watching all of these people just making things from nothing, and I think it's really cool. It's one of the reasons why I really like the show. All right, so Dub was next. He's making a gill net. He's hungry. I don't think he's one of the other ones who hasn't really had a crazy amount to eat. He was fishing. One of the things that highlights for him is he was fishing and he sees some ducks like about to land, and he does like a call, and they actually turn away, and he's like, oh, maybe I should have done that. But then he's watching, I think he's either walking or watching it, and he sees a couple more ducks coming down the river, and he sneaks up on them, and he has like a nice little, like, he set up his little tripod or whatever it is, however they're doing it. You see him like sneaking, and he takes a shot, he misses it, but he has to go get the arrow, because you remember you only have 9 when you bring a bow, and everyone is important. I think this is one of the ones that was short range. They had, I don't remember the exact name of the bow or the arrow, but they're like short range arrows apparently. So he shot one of those. He needed to go get it. Strips down to basically his underwear. But his gill net does get 3. I would call them fat pike. And there's a lot of like pike. There were some big ones, a couple 3-footers today. Um, Somebody last season, I think it was Wyatt, they put on the bottom, it's called like a 4-foot one or something. That's crazy. So that's a lot of nutrients, a lot of calories that they're getting back. And he's not saving anything. He's eating it all. And again, this is one of the things. It's just strategy. Like, let's see how it goes. If he's getting a lot of food every single day, this is good. But maybe he'll change his mind as the time goes if he keeps lasting. But we did see in the preview for next week, it looks like somebody was storing something, and it looks like it gets taken. So consuming everything now we'll see how it goes. I mean, that's really all it is. Like, we're so early in the game. You just got to see people have their strategy. They're going to stick to it. Is it going to work out for them? Is it going to bear fruit? So yeah, I thought it was a pretty good showing for Dub today. I think with the three fat pikes and kind of almost losing his arrow, getting it back, getting his spirits back, getting the fish. I'll call that one. All right, next up is Dusty, and I didn't think Dusty again. I didn't think another episode where Dusty. It's I don't know if it's his personality or I don't know what it is, but I don't. I always don't really have a lot of notes for him. I don't know. I don't know why. But he's building a table. We'll see what he uses it for. Maybe for cleaning, maybe for storing in his shelter. But while he's doing this, here's a squirrel. He does miss the first shot, but he does get it on second. Harvests it, and he does make a hacky sack out of it. So I thought that was cool. Look, the fur wrapped around, the tail and the legs are still hanging. So yeah, at least I guess he's trying to keep himself entertained and having fun out there. So Michaela was next. She's only had berries since day one. So this is a lot. Again, she was trying to work on something with fish. She finds I think it's burdock root, and apparently she can eat this, so she cooks it up. And later in the episode, while she's doing her gill net and fishing, and she actually catches a fish. She's feeling sick, and she references like, "Hey, maybe I ate the roots too quick." And it was kind of getting near the end of the episode, so you always know, like when you see the end of the episode, it's like, is this the last person we're going to see? Because that means they're going to be eliminated. And she was feeling sick, and she's like, while she was scaling it and getting ready to like cut it up and portion it, and she's like, I don't want to throw up near my fish. So like she already knew that she wasn't feeling well. She didn't throw up. So she had her POV on. I'm assuming she had it on her head, the camera, and she throws up. And when I first watched it, I thought it was blood. Like it was red. I know I completely forgot that she had a lot of berries and the root. I guess the root. I don't know if that was red as well. Like at the bottom, they didn't really show her like eating it and all that stuff. They just showed her like touching the plant. And she threw up red, and I thought it was blood, and I was worried I was like, oh shit, you don't want to throw up blood. That's usually a really bad sign. But she said she referenced the berries right after that she maybe ate the root too quick. I guess she seemed okay after the fact because we did pan away from her and see the person who was getting eliminated. But I don't know, those are moments that I don't want to. It's got to be scary if like, especially like throwing up blood. I mean, even if you call somebody in, they still got to come get you. So yeah, I mean, she's trucking along, but she did get some fish. So hopefully, and I thought it was a pretty decent size pike as well. But good success so far with the fishing. All right, and then one of the persons that people we saw was William, and it was super brief. I was actually really surprised to see a sixth person. Like I had my notes all written out, and I kind of spaced it on the paper to like, oh, it's going to be five, and then they snuck in William for the sixth. And I wonder if it's him he got a rabbit, so he was using some snare traps and got a pretty decent sized one. I would say it looked pretty big on the screen, and he's actually going to store it. So I'm wondering if we saw that today, because next episode maybe he's going to get it stolen or something. Because it wasn't. I'm not sure. Because it looked like in the preview it was a bird feathers that was taken out of a storage area, and it didn't look like the one that William was using, because he had like put some branches over it and things like that. But he's storing that rabbit, so we'll have to see how that turns out. All right, and unfortunately, the person we lost today is Peter, and I thought Peter was doing well. I thought he was doing really well. I'll run down what he did, but there was a moment that I do hate on the show, and I want to know if anybody watching it feels the same way when anybody's handling knives or cutting it, and they just are focusing on it too much. I don't like watching that. All right, so when we first met Peter today, he was working on some fish hooks. He was making, I think it was like the 3-1 where it's like any direction the fish could grab it and they're getting hooked in. He's only had some berries since drop, and he's lost 11 pounds. So I think it was day 5 or 6 here when we're first seeing him. He catches a decent sized pike, so that lifts his spirits. And then after he catches the pike, he's like, I'm going to set some overnight set lines and check in the morning. And he also made a gill net. And he gets a good pike in the gill net. and he actually on his set lines, I think it was like 3 out of 4, even 4 out of 4. He got some pretty decent sized pike. So again, the fastest on screen, he got like 20 pounds of fish. I was like, he's like, I need to maybe think about smoking some of this. And I was like, didn't think it would be him. Didn't think it was going to be him going home. And he he's starting to like doubt himself, and like I think that he might have been one of the ones that was thinking this as well. And he's like making a ladder, and he's making a ladder, and because I think he was gonna make like a cache up high, and so avoiding the bears. And he's like cutting. It's like I don't know what the knife or the knife was or the tool, but he's cutting it like this, and you just knew it was going to happen because he had his hand here. So he was facing us like this. So he was cutting like this. And I think he nicks his like knuckle here, like right around here. And you just knew it was going to happen. And I was like, oh man, I hate watching people like do that because he's saying he's tired. He hasn't really eaten. He's like not fully like functioning, and he's there and he just nails his hand. Says the cut isn't that bad, but I still don't like watching it. Ever since that one, I don't remember who it was, but like hatcheted their hand. Oh man, don't like watching it. I mean, we got to see it on the show. It's gonna happen, but I don't love watching it. Yeah, so then you kind of knew that things were on the rocks when he sets up his tripod and he starts talking about sadness, feeling grief, and he's like having this like really sad monologue. And he's like says he never cries at home. He said he cried every single day here. He's worried about the relationships that he has at home, like how's it impacting them, like. And he taps at 8 days, and I was surprised. I thought like after the 20-pound fish haul, that would maybe like lift his spirits up a little bit and maybe have him fight a couple more days. But yeah, that's the thing. You never know who's going to go on the show. Like it's really the mental game is a lot more than you think. So it's unfortunate, but somebody has to go. We know when we're watching this that somebody's going to go pretty much every single episode. So it is, unless we have, I think, I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember if there's been like double taps in an episode. I don't remember it in season 10, or I just can't think off the top of my head. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode. I'm enjoying seeing some people's strategies, like how it's going to play out for the next couple episodes with like everyone's doing certain kind of different stuff. It's cool to see just how are these strategies going to play out and work. So thank you for watching. I'll be back for episode 4, and probably what's next week. So maybe Sunday again, depending on what's going on, but I'll try to get it maybe out a little sooner, maybe on Saturday instead of Sunday. But yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to check out all other things. I know like a lot of people watching this probably don't really care about all the reality TV we watch, but if you do, Love Island still trucking along, and we're gonna probably have Mole out season 2 on Netflix, hopefully maybe this evening or even Monday morning. So I appreciate you guys all for watching, and if you comment, I appreciate that as well. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. See you.